All right, so this video is pretty interesting. This guy is basically saying that you need to choose your kids' hobbies because that's what the rich do, and poor people don't do that. So let's take a look.
You have to pick your kids' hobbies for them. Poor people allow their children to do whatever they want. Wealthy people craft with intention the outcome they want for their children.
All right, so the first dichotomy that he's saying here is basically, hey, if you are rich, you know how to parent. If you are poor, you don't know how to parent. So we have to look at what the rich folks are doing, and this is how you should parent. So he says that poor parents do not choose the hobbies of their kids, while rich parents do choose the hobbies for their children. And the first obvious question that we need to ask ourselves here is, just because you're rich, does that mean that you know how to parent well? And even another question is, in terms of parenting, what does that mean? What does being a good parent truly mean, right? What is the outcome that you want from your children? And I guess what he is trying to convey is that because you're rich, if you want your children also to be rich or be wealthy, be successful, then you have to follow the pattern that rich parents are doing, right? Now, statistically speaking, there are a lot more millionaires that came from nothing that they are those that have inherited wealth, right? So a lot of folks that have money, that are wealthy, they came from nothing, right? They had to build themselves up, which means that they didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so now think about that, and now think about a rich parent, and what most rich parents do is that they provide a lot of the things that they did not have, which was like the foundational thing that build resilience and all of these things that allowed you to then become successful and become wealthy. So even in his premise, I'm having an issue really seeing how you just being rich makes you a good parent, right? That just doesn't add up for me. In fact, I would think that if you are poor, you're actually creating a close environment to what a lot of the rich folk had when they were first getting started in order for them to become successful. Does that make sense?
They know the character traits they want to develop. We didn't say, do you want to play sports? We said, you have to play a sport. I'm not here for my kids' approval. I'm here to shape them, and I've told them since they were 5.
All right, so if you want to parent well, then you have to force your children to do a hobby or to do a sport. What's the purpose of that, right? At the end of the day, like I look at my kid, my oldest is 6 years old now. And we have him in Taekwondo because from what we've seen in him, part of the things that he struggled with is discipline and carrying things out to completion. And the way that specifically this Taekwondo school functions is that they really focus on the discipline, on building character or building perseverance, being respectful. Like everybody in there is like, yes sir, yes ma'am, right? So they're building a lot of these things that we felt our 6-year-old needed to grow in. But here's the thing: if he comes to me and he says, like, I'm miserable in this hobby, like I don't want to do it anymore, and granted, there's a point where kids are like, just whining, whatever, like he really does not like Taekwondo anymore. If this is the case, I'm not going to force him to do that, right? We will maybe try to look for something else that he can do, that he can maintain active. One of the things, for those of you that have children that are boys, that you understand is that boys are very physical and they have a lot of energy. So having them in physical activities allows them to be able to express that, right? So I think like from that perspective, I think it would be healthy for my boys to all do some type of physical sports, but it's not necessarily, like this is going to make them rich. Does that make sense?
When you're 17, you're out of my house. Get ready. I'm just going to look myself in the mirror and go, Dan, did you get them ready for the world? And I want to say, yeah.
Did you get them ready for the world, right? Few hobbies and tell them when they're 5 years old that you're going to kick them out of your house. That's crazy. I have a 6-year-old and I have a 4-year-old, and never in my mind would I think, like, one of the things that I need to start telling my kid is that, hey, guess what, buddy? When you're 17, you're out of the house. You're out of the house. I'm just like, one, it wouldn't dawn on them, but two, like, what is that really serving? I mean, you definitely do want your children to be capable and to be able to go out there and eventually, move out. At 17, unless you're paying for their college or something, where are they gonna move? Where are they gonna move to, right? Like that's I don't know. It's a really weird perspective. A lot of the comments did not agree with this man at all, honestly. It just seems like a weird take. It almost feels like this is like satire, just like making fun of like influencers or like rich folk. I don't know. But I think that thinking about your children, thinking about parenting, I have 3 boys, like I had said before, that's something that you think through a lot, is that as I'm raising my kids, what do I want from them long term? Like, think about it. Like, is your purpose for your children to become wealthy and make a lot of money? Like, is that the purpose that you want for your children? And if it is, like, you got to think about what that does to them personally, right? In their psyche. If the outcome that you want for them is to be wealthy, and this is what you're focusing on with them in your conversations, that's I think that can create a lot of problems, right? Something so fleeting as money and wealth, I think that you would be better off focusing on more intrinsic things that will serve them better long term, regardless of whether they end up being rich or not. Like, for me, my dream for my children, or my hopes, are not like, oh yeah, I hope that you're wealthy and you have tons of money. I do want them to have financial security. And I think that you can very easily achieve that here in the United States if you start early in terms of deciding a profession that you want to do, and you start investing early. That's very, very feasible. And I'll guide my children through some of that. But ultimately, I think that you got to think through, like, what type of human being do you want your child to be? And as I ask myself this, I'm thinking, for my children, number one, I would want for them to have a relationship with Jesus Christ above all. Because if you think about it, from that stems everything else. Loving people, treating people right, being a servant to others, working hard, planning, right? The Bible encompasses all of these things that would create like a healthy human being. Don't just rely on yourself, like, do the work, but at the same time, like, God is in control, right? A lot of folks that struggle with anxiety today is because they have this notion that everything is within my control. So that pressure that they have in terms of the outcome is caused because of that, because they just see, okay, I am the only one that can do this thing. The other extreme is terrible too, because you're like, oh, well, nothing is under my control, so I'm not going to do anything. But the Bible says it perfectly, where it says in Proverbs, a man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Meaning, you plan, you do what you need to do, but ultimately is going to be up to God. It is going to be out of your control. So you can only do your best, you can only plan, and then the outcome is up to God, right? That is a healthy mentality that's actually supported by psychology, where it will help you when it comes to that anxiety. A lot of the folks, like I had said before, that struggle with that is that they worry about things that they cannot control. Now, for my children, if you told me, okay, outside of following Jesus, what would you want for your children? And again, it's all encompassing within that one thing. But I would want my children to be kind individuals, and that they are willing and want to serve others. That they're hardworking, and that they want to serve other people. I think that if I can instill that in them, a lot of the other things will follow. A lot of crazy stuff out there I've seen in terms of parenting. So I want to hear from you in the comments. Let me know, what do you think? Do the rich have the secret sauce, if you will, for the children, and this is how we should instruct our children? Or is this man just like off base and we should be focusing on other things? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.